We are live on audio. Good. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to another episode, another night of the Couch Cooperative as we play through our 5th editions of Dungeons & Dragons Adventure full-length campaign, The Curse of Strahd. We don't have any major announcements other than, as you can see, we are down a current player. Katray is perfectly fine, but he is attending to a health emergency for someone that he cares for. So, we wish him the best. We hope that everything's going well. And we're going to continue to play because there's a little bit of some non-important areas that are kind of coming up where we can play without him, even though we normally don't make a habit of this. So we are making a special exception just due to the nature of today's session. And then when it gets super important is when we will draw ourselves to a close. So without further ado, let's begin. So last we left off, our adventurers had traveled to Argynvostholt, a mansion that belonged to a silver dragon named Argynvost, who centuries ago in Barovia had led a knight order known as the Knights of the Silver Order in a war against Strahd von Zarovich and his rise to power.
Oh no!
Man, looks like
Sorry.
We lost him. Oh no! And no, you're good. And so he led the knights against Strahd in his rise to power, and then Strahd's forces. But inevitably, they were overwhelmed. They didn't have the manpower to face off the hordes of undead, the hordes of different creatures of the night, be they werewolves or vampires, and were soundly defeated. Now, you guys had traveled there and had kind of waded through just the abandoned mansion and kind of encountered a couple spirits. You encountered a giant spider that you promptly put into a bottle as a smaller spider and then chucked off a cliff, which was...
We need to clip that, Ethan.
It's pretty dope. And you met with the commander, the Lord Commander of the Knights of the Order of the Silver, and his name was Vladimir Horngard, and his spirit had not restfully passed on. It had manifested back into Barovia as that of a revenant, a particular type of spiritual entity, a ghost, an ethereal specter that's focused on revenge. His revenge, obviously, directed towards Strahd von Zarovich for the pain that he's inflicted on Horngard and the remainder of his brethren and sisters in the knighthood. And so he offered you a deal. He would give you the prophetic treasure that you sought after, which was this iron-locked tome that was around his neck, if you would promise to not kill Strahd, but to put him into an eternal realm of torment so that he would live in a hell of his own design for eternity, so that he could suffer as he's made others suffer, which you guys did agree to. I believe thanks to Romulus, and upon that you guys received some brands on your forearms, and then had received this tome, which was given to Jude. Jude read the tome and was brought into this little pocket subdimension that belonged to, which really more resembled the innermost psyche of Strahd von Zarovich, where he saw and encountered a broken Strahd. The man that once was, not the monster that now is, and had actually, through the reading, instead of actually reading the words off the page, he experienced what the words meant, what the Tome of Strahd actually hoped to convey, what caused this man to become such a monster. And it was that he had given his life over. He had sacrificed his life and his humanity to a darker power in hoping that he would be able to get power, that he'd be able to get notoriety, that he'd be able to get the things that he wanted, most specifically the people that he wanted and that he lusted for. Too much of his life was spent fighting wars that were not his own, and he for once wanted to be able to make decisions of his own and to be respected and valued and appreciated and feared and loved, all for it. And he got into a tumultuous incident with his brother Sergei after the woman that he loved ended up being betrothed to Sergei, and he ended up murdering his brother in cold blood, and then causing the death of all of his household guards, killing Tatiana, who is the woman that he loved, and kind of beginning this genesis of a dark Strahd, the Strahd von Zarovich that now plagues the lands of Barovia today. That Strahd asked for Jude to make a deal, and that deal was to kill him, and he gave you the means with which to kill him, as killing him is nearly impossible. So you were given 2 daggers with which to make a decision. One would make the decision that you had pacted to with Vladimir Horngard. Stab it into Strahd's heart after defeating him in combat, and he would be brought into a realm of eternal torment. Vladimir's spirit will be completely appeased, and the Knights of the Silver will probably be at rest as well. Or you can use another dagger to plunge it into his heart after combat, and it would kill him completely erasing his spirit and giving the soul of Strahd that has been, that once was, it would give that Strahd a chance to rest. However, it would break your pact with Vladimir Horngard, causing the Revenant to be duty-bound to hunt you down until you were killed. So, with that in mind, you guys had been given the next piece of information. That you're looking for an elf named Kasimir, who resides in the outskirts of Vallaki. He has the next item that you seek that will help you in your combat against Strahd. And so where we pick up specifically is about a full week after you've left Argynvost, or Argynvost Hall. The wagon is kind of clattering, and you hear the cranking of the wooden wheels and the shifting of the weight of the wagon as it kind of, jumbles across the road. It's a very calm road, but there's still like that natural kind of shake with the wagon. And you hear that as the wagon is being drawn by the 2 horses that lead it, and the clopping of their feet bring you towards what would be like the outskirts of just Vallaki itself. And you can see way off into the distance the town is ominously different, in which in the surrounding area there's a good clearance around Vallaki where the woods have been cut back so that there's a visible realm of sight if people were trying to charge it from the tree line. And out in the middle of this clearing they have put crossbeams out, and attached to those crossbeams you see a family, about a family of 4. You assume that it's the family of the mayor, the old burgomaster, Vargas Vlakovic, who you watched get publicly executed thanks to the mob that was incited by Dima's mother, Lady Fiona Wachter.
Did we kind of cause that, or was
Yeah.
Anyways,
We could have stopped it. We didn't.
Not without potentially getting into a pretty fun, let's slaughter all these townfolk.
yeah.
Ethan, can I PM you something that I'd like to do? Not now, but it's just a thought I've had. It's something.
Sure.
Okay, I'll do it.
The cart kind of, the wagon, so Davian is currently piloting the wagon. It's his turn, and so he kind of takes the wagon off the main road and takes it on an off-road that kind of leads within the tree lines to kind of continue around in some of the outlying hills that are just past Vallaki. And you guys are kind of huddled around in the middle of the wagon. There's the 4 of you. You see Jude's he has this tome that he's recently received from Vladimir Horngard, and he's just still reading through it. He's trying to get as much information. He's been studying it for quite some time, pretty much the entire weeks of travel when he's not piloting the wagon because you guys have been taking turns. He's been reading this tome, and his goal is he's trying to figure out if there's anything that can help identify like a weakness. He's looking for something that will like really wound Strahd, make it to where you guys could like truly fight him. He's become a little bit restless over the course of this week. Whatever he's seeing in this book as he's reading it, or whatever knowledge he's obtaining, seems to have a very profound effect on him. His eyes seem to get a little heavier. He's seeming to get a little bit more exhausted and short-tempered. And overall, he's a lot more irritable than he was when he first started reading this tome. There's a level of it that seems to be upsetting him, and yet to be able to obtain something beneficial from it is still... It's a massive risk to be taking, and Jude's reading through it to do the best he can for you guys. And so he's reading through it, and as a result, whenever he does read it, the book kind of affixes to his hands. It's unable to be moved. He has to close it himself in order for it to end this trance that it puts him in. But his eyes kind of glaze with this dark sheen, and it just looks like he's mumbling to himself while the pages are flipping. It's a little off-putting, but less so because you've been experiencing it for about a week, but it doesn't change that it's still naturally just a little uncomfortable.
Am I allowed to talk?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay. Am I allowed to talk to Jude? Oh.
You can try, but you found that he's unresponsive, and it seems as if he can't hear you.
Okay. Well, I'll look. Okay. Am I in like who's driving right now?
Right now it is Davian and Ismark.
Okay. I'll kind of look at my two awake party companions. Like are we really going to kill Strahd? Are you sure? I mean, we made a pact. We can't break that now. It's too late.
My friend,
I'm awake, right?
I am more than willing to condemn Strahd to eternal suffering. I have no quarrel with that. That is as good as death in my book.
And Helena, how do you feel?
To be honest, I don't want to end the suffering of many people with suffering. It's like fighting fire with fire. Personally, it's not my thing.
Yeah,
I'd rather just kill him quickly.
Yeah, I understand.
And you understand the consequences of that are certain death by remnant when we leave this cursed place.
Trust me, I've been hunted before. Little ghost won't scare me.
It's more than a ghost, Helena. It's a remnant. It can follow us after life. It doesn't matter if we kill it. It'll be right back.
You can say I just like the chase.
Well, I don't, Helena. I do not. And I do not want to be running from a remnant for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's worse than most things, I'll say that.
Will you concede? I mean, it's not like we're just condemning a random innocent man to eternal suffering. We're condemning a man who's destroyed generations of people, who's caused anguish beyond any of our comprehension. It's...
But why should we be the ones to decide his fate? Why can't the gods decide for us? It's not our jobs. Our job as beings, a lesser being, to really judge someone like that. Like, I know that he's, done so many atrocities, but let that be dealt by the gods, not by me.
Well,
You guys, Dima kind of kicks back in his seat, and he pulls his hood over himself. It kind of covers his eyes, and he says, to not be involved with the quarrels of being some hero like you guys. And he's off to sleep.
well,
Actually, before he goes off to sleep, he takes a swig of his flask.
Oh my gosh.
What do you got in there, Dima? Why don't you share? You're not going to hog it all.
He burps and then holds
It's
it.
that
He'll hold it
good
out.
Oh, okay.
hooch.
I'll take a big old swig of it too, and
It's good hooch.
I'll hand it back to you, Dima. Before I continue talking, you see Romulus kind of like when you take a shot, just like kind of straighten himself
Shake
back
a
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you can tell, I haven't taken that many shots. Anyways, fucking. I'll look back at Helena and. You're right, Helena. It's not our decision to make whether the rights of Strahd are deemed a merciful death or eternal suffering. But call me selfish. It's a decision I'll make to give myself peace for the rest of this life here.
You are selfish.
I guess I shouldn't expect much more from a paladin, but
You hear Irina, who's in the room or in the wagon with you, kind of like can't help but choke out like a chuckle at that.
stupid.
She's like, the four of
Irina,
the
you
four
were
of
not
you
a part of
banter
this conversation.
Quite
Oh,
often.
sorry.
Oh, trust me, I know I'm not a part of this conversation. I align myself a little bit more with Dima on this one. And she looks towards Stella Voctor, which is Dima's sister, which you guys, have had with traveling with you since.
Oh, I forgot.
Um,
Is she still ill?
I know. I forgot about her.
she's been incredibly relaxed, so you haven't had
Okay.
to really be concerned with it. And she just looks over and goes, "Yes, the things that plague this land that cause things like this to people it's a lifetime of suffering, and many people are incurred with their own lifetimes of suffering, and is not this beast deserving of a similar fate? Is it not just to seek an eye for an eye? Maybe we just disagree.
Helena,
But I'm not the one that's capable of fighting that monster off, so I have no say in this. What you decide to do is your choice. And I trust that you will make the decision that you see fitting."
well, Helena, you've seen the consequences of Strahd's actions. I mean, like she says, you didn't witness her locked in that room, but Jude and I did. And it was suffering incomprehensible, something no human being should ever have to go through. Now, I understand that doesn't entirely justify returning that suffering, but I don't think we are doing a bad deed if it is to allow us to continue to have a peaceful life in consequence to sending this devil himself to hell.
Is it guaranteed that he'll stay in hell forever? Is that guaranteed? If we end his life, peace will be brought through the land. Sure, we may be hunted, but it's a small price to pay.
Before you guys can finish the debate of the guarantee of this cosmological decision that lays before you, the wagon comes to a stop, and you can hear and feel Davian and Ismark begin to dismount, and you hear a wooden staff clatter against the side from the outside, and then a voice, "We've arrived.
Oh.
Go on and get out."
That's Ethan telling me I was stuck too long on one topic of conversation.
Oh no. And as you guys start to slowly make your way out of the wagon, Davian is kind of looking out and around, and so is Ismark, and he's got his hand on his sword, and Davian with his staff. "It is long Barovian night, but we've arrived at Vistani camp, just ahead. This Kasimir that we are looking for, I don't know how we'll find, but an elf is elf. I will try to sniff out elf. And hopefully I can. If not, we will have to see. Luckily, and he points to his ears, elves are little easy to find, yeah? But I don't necessarily like being around these witches. Vistani are dirt. Then he spits on the ground, and you can see it makes Ismark a little uncomfortable because he's a little bit more like amiable, a little bit more friendly. But yeah, most like the typical Barovian sentiment to the Vistani is that they're just lesser than. And Davian looks into the wagon and sees that Jude hasn't come out of this trance yet, and he just looks and goes, Is he okay? Is he still reading book?
Nah, my friend, he's doing something very important for our cause. He'll be okay.
Well,
if I remember
the worst
correctly,
thing that happens is we get placed with Vistani Hex and Curse, so I think we'll be fine. And he looks over at Ismark, and Ismark kind of grabs his sword hilt and goes, I'll watch him and make sure that he's fine. Hopefully nothing comes close, but
let's go with more.
it's a calm day for now, at least. Hopefully it doesn't change. But go. Do what you have to, and then we can determine what to do next. Davian goes, that is a good point. We will have to figure out after this how we are going to even approach getting this third item. Which, for all we know, is inside of Strahd Castle. Because the prophecy that Jude has recounted to me is that this is inside where the devil sleeps. Which I only can imagine is that it's inside his castle.
it won't do us any good waiting here, so I'll hop off the wagon, kind of stretch myself out a little bit.
Yeah, you guys hop off the wagon, gathering your things, and make your way over to the Vistani camp that's currently outside of the Locky. It's a bit of ways. It's on a hill, actually. It's nestled on a hill. And so from the distance that you're at, you're kind of still within the tree line. It's a small clearing. Well, I say small. It's sizable. You could probably fit like a small village in this clearing. But it's just one central hill mound. At the top of that hill mound is a gathering of wagons and then a big, massive central tent that you can see on the top of the hill, and you can see all the smoke from like whatever fires they have running. That's where the Vistani are. At the base of the hill, at pretty much 7 points that kind of surround the hill, are these individual hovels, these little homes. And you can see some chimney smoke coming out of kind of a couple of them that are there. And so there's a single pathway, a trailway that heads straight up around the curvature of the hill and goes up to the camp. And then it has smaller pathways that kind of then wrap around the hill to go to each of the hovels. But what do you guys wish to do?
Well, I'm gonna look at it and I go, well, I guess the best place to start, my friends, would be at the top of the hill. Maybe we see what is happening at the camp and then we go from there. But I definitely do not want to go door by door knocking, looking for elf.
I've got no issue to that. It's if I remember correctly, it's a dark elf we're looking for, right?
Yeah, that'd be really easy.
All right. Well, sure. Let's head to the top.
Up we go.
To the top.
On our way.
Okay. So as you guys go ahead and walk up the pathway, you see a couple of you see two of the hovels that kind of are on alternate sides of the main roadway that leads up to the camp, and you can see kind of immediately that in front of each of them there's a single gray cloaked figure that seems to stand in front of the door to their home. So each of these two homes, so one on each side, has a figure that stands before it, gray cloaked, and they're just kind of leaning back up against the door and watching you as you're walking up the roadway, because the roadway takes you all the way up to the top of the camp.
Do I know anything about those guys?
No, never seen them.
They look like guards.
No, they go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. D20. Let's see. Okay. Nat 20?
Nat 20. He definitely looks like a guard, but not one that's like visible. So he looks like a very discreet guard. You can tell that he's armed, and very deceptively armed, very well armed. Though it doesn't look like it. It looks like he's a beggar. His gray cloak is designed in such a way that it's hard to tell, like, really how, like, whether or not he's wearing like a face mask or like if he's wearing like gloves. And that's because you tell rather quickly it's because his skin is dark. So he's got a very ashy gray skin, and it trails with this like platinum blonde hair that you can catch fringes of around his cloak, and you can see he's tucked his pointed ears underneath the hood. So you can see that these two guards are actually very well armed dusk elves.
Both of them?
Mm-hmm. Both of them.
Is that the fucking politically correct way to call them, dusk elves?
This is a specific type of elf.
So what are those dark elves in
Those would be drow elves. Those are those are the subterranean elves. Yeah.
Okay. So there's even more types of elves than just those two?
Oh, yeah,
the normal?
Yeah, you have high elves and wood elves.
Oh yeah, I
and,
guess so, yeah.
You have sun elves, moon elves, you have sea elves, the Shadar-kai, there's a whole group.
So there's multiple darker races of elves then?
A couple.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah. Typically it's just drow elves, but in here they had dusk elves.
I'm gonna okay. I'm gonna walk up to them and I'm gonna say hello there, Kasimir, and I'm going to be focused on their eyes to see if any of them like, twinkle a little bit brighter than the other when I say the name.
One kind of looks at you. Do you speak Elvish by chance?
I do.
I can cast tongues.
Well, no. Do you speak it or not? Is really like the initial question.
No. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. I don't think I do.
I'll be right back.
Alluvial estarin.
I'll use tongues.
So you immediately cast the spell, and as you're in the midst of casting that incantation,
counter spell.
He rushes you very quickly, and you can feel something start to poke into the soft part of your abdomen. And he whispers, "No, I wouldn't try that."
I'm trying to understand you. I'm trying to understand you, and you speak in Elvish. Like you know, I don't understand that.
That is your problem, not mine.
Can I walk up to them?
You do. You
I'd
walk
say-
up, and he sees and goes, "This your pet?"
This is racism at its finest.
Is he asking me if
Yes,
Romulus is my pet?
Yes.
Don't say I don't have a tantrum if you say yes.
No. Who's asking? I do want to say that though.
Don't start this, Helena. Don't start this.
He's not my pet, man. Whatever you are.
Maybe an uncomfortable lover. He
We are not lovers.
asks
I
the wrong questions and can become quite a nuisance.
Oh wow.
I think you're just a tad bit angry, lad. Maybe just calm down for a second. We're here to talk, not here to fight.
Not here
Let's
to
settle
fight
this
him.
calmly.
You have a blade on the back of your armor that is massive. You'd be a little bit wise if you were in my position to be a little bit more weary of people like you.
Am I wielding it right now?
It's irrelevant to me. The capacity to wield it is more important. And yet you come seeking people. I've never seen you, nor have I heard you. Not a whisper. And yet you seem to know important people. That puts me on alarm.
Oh, sounds like you need a news update, pal.
Hmm.
Oh,
We're pretty
He said, important.
Oh, I know how to fix this then. Hello, my name is Romulus Pythia. I am a bard. I focus on oracles, tarot cards, and the spirits. Nice to meet you.
You've
And I'll
said
hold my
enough.
hand up.
You've said enough, and he withdraws a wrist blade that he had poking into your stomach. And he puts his hands back and kind of takes a step back and kind of puts his hands up as if he's being a little bit like, all right, we'll play. All right, fine. You're not here to harm, and yet I don't trust you. Why do you seek Kasimir? The other Dusk Elf kind of starts to walk over, and he goes, Alathir.
What did he say?
He says, don't worry.
I know.
Yeah, he basically says, like, stand off. Don't worry.
Well, I know this might seem like quite the shock, but, we'd like to kill Strahd.
He turns over. Broknon Ithralin. Strahd.
What do you say?
He leans over. Yeah, he's looking over and basically saying,
He's
he's basically saying, these guys said that they want to kill Strahd. And it's like a way of like inciting a joke. Like it's said in disbelief. He's like, there's no way that this guy just said he wants to kill Strahd.
I'm gonna speak in Elvish real quick, and let him know we're not joking.
His head turns and like gets cocked a little bit.
Can I hold out my stuff that I stole from the Voctor house?
What stuff? Is it that you?
The notarized scrolls, the notarized deeds, given to them by Strahd, I think, right?
Yes.
And then I have that Voctor letter as well, and then the Grimoire of the Four Quarters and the Devil We Know book. This is all evidence of my devotion to take down Strahd. In fact, it's prophesized. I mean, how many prophesized people do you get to meet in your day?
In my centuries, I've met many, and they've all perished at the hands of that demon. You claim to be just another piece of that puzzle. The items you have on you make you look nothing more than an acquirer of historical tomes, bare minimum. And yet you will not budge. If you wish to speak with Kasimir about the Maiden Killer, you may. You will find his hovel on the opposite side of the hill. His temperament is dour, and he is on edge way more than I ever will be. Consider that.
Well, that's no
good. Then he
good.
leans back up against his hovel door.
Considering you all brought us here, it's no good that you are in quite a sour mood, but I will take that into consideration.
I'm gonna flick a gold coin to him for your trouble, beggar.
And he catches.
'Cause I don't know he's a fucking guard.
Do you say beggar?
Yeah.
He flicks the coin onto the ground and spits on the floor.
Oh. I'll pick the coin up and put it in my pocket.
Yeah. And then you really pissed him off, and so he walks into his hovel just angry, and the other elf is sitting there like wide-eyed, like, oh. And then he just shakes his head.
Helena, that wasn't a beggar. That was a knight. That was a god.
He looked poor to me.
I think it's their aesthetic. You know, they like being a little ominous, a little sneaky. They don't want to give it all away at once. They like the mystery.
You see,
Ethan, real quick, Kasimir, he's the one that's supposed to help us find the sword, or what was his part of the prophecy? Is the sword the very last one?
That's a good question.
No, I would have my notes, but I reset my computer, so I don't have my notes with the prophecy.
Well,
all mine says
didn't say what specific items where. It just said that you would seek an item here.
But
So
All I know is that there's a hilt or something that we need to get, but that's in Strahd's castle. And I do have a blade that
wait, what did you say is in Strahd's castle, Omar?
it's someone's hilt or someone's blade. It's
Yeah,
Sergei's or something.
that's the sword, and that's not what Kasimir is going to help us find now, right?
No.
No,
What we were told last session was I have written down, it just says search for Kasimir. He has what we seek, will not fully withhold item, but will not give it up lightly.
Okay. All right.
Is what
So
I have.
once we leave those guard guys, well, we'll walk a little bit. I'll wait.
yeah,
What do we have to do?
As you guys are walking and kind of heading over, you can see Davian is here, and just kind of as you're going through it, he's the Dusk Elves that are here. The stories say that Strahd has slaughtered all of their women. So the Dusk Elves that are alive today are incapable of procreation, and yet their immortality locks them into a prison of life that they cannot continue. Their race has effectively died out. So
Damn.
Tough break.
I would not, if that guy was grumpy, I would not be surprised if this Kasimir is similar.
Ethan, can I ponder on my knowledge, my worldly knowledge, and see if I've heard of any Dusk Elves living outside of Barovia?
You've never been to Barovia, so you can try, make a history.
No, I mean, aren't we in Barovia right now?
You're in Barovia, but you've never been to Barovia. So
No, I mean, are there Dusk Elves outside of Barovia?
yeah, you can try. Go ahead.
Okay. What kind of roll would that even...
History.
Nat 1.
That one. No.
Well, that balanced itself out pretty well. Nat 20 and then a Nat 1.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing comes to mind.
Are there any Dusk Elves outside of Barovia? Oh.
I would not know. I've never left these lands.
Well, don't worry. Once we take Strahd down, you'll be able to leave willy-nilly.
My home is here. I would not want to leave it at all. I appreciate it.
Romulus, I've never heard that
If the
term.
only option is to travel with you, we'll be okay.
Dima's gonna kind of butt in, and he's gonna kind of come in a little bit seriously, and it's mostly because he's coming off of the alcohol he had on the trip earlier. But nonetheless, he's gonna come in kind of seriously. He's gonna go, my friends, I think for the first time in our whole adventure, I may be able to put a little bit of a native touch on things and help the situation out, if you know what I mean. Let me talk to this Kasimir guy. You guys wait from safe distance, and if I need assistance, you come, you save Dima. But I think I can get through to him.
Why don't you? I think it's best for you to wash out your mouth because your breath stinks of alcohol.
Yeah.
Let me do the talking.
Always.
Or you know what?
Always.
You can. Why don't how about this? You can come with me, but I just don't want you to reek. What if that angers him more?
No. If he lived in Barovia, he smelled alcohol all the time. That's besides the point, my friend. What you don't understand is that this delicate situation requires a finer touch that I think Dima can handle.
Are you sure that he'll be welcoming to the member of the Vakta family?
He could he could know who you are.
He knows not who I am.
Well, if you'd like to speak, you've got something. I will let you speak, but can I watch? Are you okay with that, or are you handing out secrets? What's going on here?
No, it's not secrets, my friend. I just think that given the prior context of him not wanting to be the most forthcoming, and without it saying that, the Kasimir is going to have a little bit more temperance than even he had. Well, I think that he would require a very specific form of communication.
You're not talking about a drink, are you?
You see Davian kind of... He's sort of shaking his head as if he's thinking. He goes, guys, I kind of have to agree with the man, with Dima.
My friend.
My thought process is to this Kasimir, the two of you are foreigners, outsiders, alien to these lands. You do not know its struggles, you do not know its plights, not as intimately as this man, as he ever will, if he's lived long. And yes, there is a pain point that Demel will have to walk around with being a Vokter, but with his sister and being a native, he has a little bit more of a sentimental attachment to the pain that he can sympathize with. And he does look at you and go, I do not think you are a refined touch, my friend. I don't. I think you can sympathize with the man better, but be very careful what you say to him.
Me? Nah. I'm very nice. Very nice Dima. Nice Dima today.
I'm gonna pull out my flask and I'm gonna hand it to Dima, Dima, and I'm gonna say, you might need more liquor before you go in there.
He's gonna take it.
Liquid courage.
He's gonna take it. He's not gonna drink it yet, but he is gonna take it.
You bastard! You can't just take. You just take my alcohol.
Gave me your alcohol, dude. I don't know what to tell you, man.
You can't give your alcohol to a drunk and not expect him to just take it.
Damn it!
Finders keepers, man.
He doesn't get my flask back either. He sells it for more alcohol.
That's
fucking
crazy. So, you guys walk around the base of the hill, and in front of the house that you assume to be Kasimir's, you see that there is the front of the house is bathed in this warm light of the lanterns that are hanging outside, and there are three sullen-looking, gray-cloaked figures, all dusk elves. They're angular features, and these ones have black flowing hair, and have a bit more of like a paler complexion, like pale white complexion. And so there's this like dichotomous skin tone for these dusk elves that you're starting to really see. So these ones are very, very pale with black hair, whereas you saw kind of light gray with like almost platinum white hair. Oh, there's my dog.
Was Talia a dusk elf?
Who?
Talia, like Strahd's first love or whatever?
No.
Tiana? No.
Or Tiana?
I look just like her. Like she
Yeah.
was just a human.
Because imagine if like that other whatever that girl's name is that looks like you. What if she was the last dusk elf woman?
Don't tell the other men that.
Yeah, be a lot of genetic malpractice going on.
So this is the house we believe to be Kasimir's house?
Yes, and you see just the three elves standing outside.
Do I have a reasonable suspicion that one of them is Kasimir?
You do not get that impression.
Okay. Then when we're all approaching, I want to kind of walk up and just very, very kindly, in my beautiful native Barovian tongue, I just want to say, hey, my friends, we're looking for Kasimir. Do you happen to know where he is?
The three all look at each other and begin to speak in quick chirps of Elvish, which you're unable to detect.
Hey, I only.
Helena, you can see they're kind of questioning each other, like whether or not they should let these people in. And it seems the impression that you're getting, Helena, is that they actually were expecting someone. Kasimir had told them that someone would come today and ask for them, and they were a bit caught off guard by this and like surprised that it actually is happening. So they're very quick, like, should we let them in? Like, is this who Kasimir was talking about? And it's like, we don't want to anger him, but these guys kind of look weird. I'm
going to cross my arms and say in Elvish, he's expecting us.
Well, you're going to say that in Elvish?
Because they're speaking in Elvish.
They look at you, and again, like, they all kind of cock their heads a little bit, and then they acquiesce. And so they, in Elvish, just, very well. And then they kind of allow, one knocks on the door and opens it and speaks in Elvish, speaking to this man. And so, Helena, you hear, Kasimir, they have arrived. And you can hear a voice from within, also speaking in Elvish. Very well. Send them in. And do not accost them. I will speak to them and we will see what makes of this day. We've lost too much. I want no trouble unless they bring it.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
The
go.
elf at the door shakes his head and goes, by your will. And then opens the door and switches to common. You cause any problems, we will come in and we will slit your throats ear from ear. We understood.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
The Davian's like,
Got it.
I like my throat, so please don't. You guys walk in and they close the door behind you, and it's a little, it's a nice little hovel. The hovel is decorated, or has a decorated vestibule that is a very comfortable room that's kind of surrounding the fireplace, and there's these wooden statuettes of these different elven figures that stand in a series of cubbyholes along one of the walls. There's a tapestry of a forest that hangs on the opposite wall of that. There is a picture or a painting of a dusk elf woman, a very beautiful woman, that sits over the fireplace. It seems to be something like in memoriam, especially hearing that there's a chance that all the ladies have been killed, and
All they have is one picture left. They have one Playboy magazine left of the last Dark Elf.
You don't know how bad you're gonna eat those words in just a moment, buddy. This man Kasimir sits in a pretty like it's almost like it's like a combat style like battle mage robe, and he's got a very intricate staff that is leaning against the mantelpiece, and he's sitting in this chair. He's kind of hunched over, and he's just looking at that picture. And there's an orb that's in front of him that he is kind of magically divining into. And as he's doing that, he keeps looking up ever so slightly at that painting. And then as the door closes, the magical infusion that he's kind of creating around this orb that's kind of lifting it up and kind of like a fushigi, kind of just like keeping it in the air. He's kind of playing around with it before he clasps it, like just grabs it, places it on this little niche that's on the side on this little side table. And then as he stands up, you can see his staff begins to shake, and he catches it in his hand before he kind of puts it onto the ground, and there's a thud that sounds like it's more dramatic in sound than what it should actually make. Like it's a little bit more loud, and you can feel an aura of stillness when it slams against the wood of the hovel. And then he stops, and he turns around, and you see a dusk elf. This one is up more on the pale side with long black hair, but there's streaks of this like white that are kind of going with throughout the entirety of it, as if age is affecting him, even though you know elves to be physically immortal. And he carries on himself a ring that he doesn't fiddle with, so it's on his left hand and it's on his index finger, and he clutches his staff and kind of picks himself up slightly, gives one more longing look at that painting, and then looks back at you. You have arrived.
Hell yeah. Cool. I wanna step up first, and I wanna go. My name is Dima Bhakta, son of the infamous Lady Bhakta, who you probably know. I am native to Barovia of these lands. These are my companions.
You are a progeny of a foul spawn, and yet you dare to befoul my hovel with your presence. The very
My friend,
next words that leave your mouth, Vokter, must be very selectively chosen.
I am a young human, and you quite obviously have the experience of age underneath your belt. And while I am not aged by the years that have passed by me, I am aged by the strife, the trial, the hardships that have faced my family, caused by our own progeny, my own mother. My sister cast aside, treated as garbage, left to die. Me, myself, cast aside, abandoned, forgotten about, unspoken. And I atone for my family, and I would see my mother on a pike, her head on a pike. I care little for the bloodline from which I come. What I care most for is for the health and the prosperity of the lands from which I come, this land Barovia. I recently have begun traveling with these people, these outsiders to this world, which I understand you are. They want to go home. I may want to go home. It could argue that we aim to defeat the devil's blood, to set them home, to set out everyone here who's unrightfully here home, and to free the native people, bring happiness, peace, and prosperity back. So if you help us with that, we would be ever gracious. We will repay it. Our kinship will repay it. Our children will repay it. And then Dima's just gonna stonewall him. Or he's gonna just eyeball him.
What makes you think you are capable?
Truthfully, we have not had to tell us, but you know, we may be inflamed by false beliefs and the prophecies spouted to us by the Stani fools. We may have come this far and believed that since we have not died yet, we must keep going. We may be dead fools, but every day we choose to continue onwards on our journey, on our quest. We get a step closer to the Devil's Strahd, and we keep our focus in our hearts and in our minds that we will end his tent.
He begins to take a couple steps closer to you, and he's like, your complacency and your laxity is disconcerting. And he reaches a hand out to your temple. Do you get involved in that, or are you gonna let whatever he wants to do right now happen?
No, I'm gonna deflect the fuck out of that, dude.
You're gonna deflect the hand?
Yeah.
Okay. You immediately move, and with your reflexes, you put a hand up around, and he puts his hand a little bit out.
When I reflect, though, can I say something or no?
He looks at you and goes, you come here for my help, which means you need to trust me, because it means I have something you need. Now, may I?
Alright, I rescind. And I let him.
He puts his finger up to your temple, and immediately your memory is recalled to that combat encounter that you had in the Klyanovich mansion back in Barovia, where you fought Strahd and were just absolutely decimated, where you were thrown into different sides of the mansion, and you were I think you were impaled. And so he sees that, and you can tell he's pulling that out, and it's happening in your head really quickly, and so you know that that's what he's looking at. And then he very quickly pulls his finger away, like in pain, and like he shakes his fingers. Ah! Oh, your mind is riddled with the pain of that demon. And he kind of looks at his fingers to see if there's anything wrong. And you're a long way from that small town of Barovia. I ask you again, what makes you think that you're competent? How am I supposed to know? And he leans in like he's invested. Like, how am I supposed to know that you are capable of going up against that monster?
At this point, Dima's pissed. Dima's pissed. He feels like he's been violated, and he goes, because if I do not kill the Devil's Strahd, then I will die trying.
Then you will become one of many. Why am I to lend my help to one who's not capable of being one above the rest?
Sorry, I don't mean to take this long to think in game.
No, you're all good.
Okay. It's okay to feel like, oh, that's a good point, or I don't know how I'm gonna answer that, or it's okay to have those pauses in a part of the conversation. Like, that's normal.
Yeah, no. I mean, truthfully, my friend, there is nothing that sets man apart from another man, if you ask me, other than godship. But I see no god.
There's a sea of souls that exist in this land that would tell you otherwise. All of them heroes in their own right. Warriors, rogues, scoundrels, wizards, clerics, diviners, healers, warlocks, sorcerers, foul mutants, all thinking that they were a step above the remainder of Barovians, that they were more capable than anyone in their time of being the one to bring sunshine to the lands darkened by that demon, and yet not a single one has made it happen. So you might think that one man doesn't stand above the rest, and your moral compass is roosted in virtue, and yet you failed to directly approach the question: what stands you above the sea of bodies that lies behind you that say otherwise?
Do you mind if do I have your permission to speak?
He looks over and goes, I do not need the formality. You may speak your mind.
There may be many that have fallen to Strahd, but do they have the right tools to be rid of him?
What tools are you talking about?
Let's just say we have a means or a way to eliminate him permanently.
Yeah.
Prove it.
I'm gonna kind of like do a little cough, like a little baby cough, like I'm a little nervous. But we met with the spirit of Vladimir Horngod.
He takes a step closer. You met with the Revenant. The Spectre
Can I
of the Knights.
Can I turn around and point to my greatsword?
He kind of strafes around you and kind of begets the entirety of the blade into his vision. Goes, you didn't just meet the Revenant.
I'm gonna expose my tattoo.
He lets go of his staff and it just stands there.
I thought it was gonna fall.
And so you show him your brand that you have, because yours is like a burned brand.
I'll show him.
And he grabs your arm and he pulls, like he kind of gives you a little tug and puts his hand along it and like kind of traces it with his fingers. And similar to what happened with Dima, your memories immediately brought back to when you got that. And he goes, "Oh, you have made a deal, kind of with the devil, if you don't mind me saying."
Well, it was a devil or a devil. We didn't have many choices, so...
There is another one in these visions that's not here presently. His fate stinks of death.
What? What the fuck?
You assume he's talking about Jude Twiceborn, because
Yeah.
you know the whole
okay,
purpose of him is that he's died and he's not dead. Where is the other one?
Studying. On the way to
Religiously.
kill Strahd. To defeat him,
There is no such
should I say.
There is no such thing that is capable of being found. The secrets of
At
that
least that's
monster are locked away in his castle. How have you come across something like this?
Or locked away in his diary with the other half of him.
You have found the tome.
That's
It
the
didn't
Jude.
take much. It was given to us.
You see he stops for a second and puts his fingers together and then quickly traces an arcane sigil in front of him fast. And just as it happens, his eyes glow with an arcane sheen. You found the tome. You are not safe anywhere that you go.
We know. That's why we're trying to kill Strahd as quick as possible.
Jude's dead when we go back to the wagon.
That would be kind of funny.
He OD'd on the book.
An off-screen death.
If you have read that tome and he looks back at that painting, then you know more about when it started to go awry. And he walks up to the fireplace towards the painting. She was so full of life once.
Oh no, man.
She was presented with an opportunity that not any of our kind have ever faced. And he kind of looks back and down a little. To intermarry between species is not common here in Barovia, in the lands of Dread. And yet
No.
she was given that chance to marry a young noble who'd conquered the lands for peace. And he killed her. He wanted nothing to do with her. He treated her like a dog. She was my everything. She was my sister.
Oh, no.
I've read that tome, and I know of its dark secrets. It was I who gave it to Vladimir Horngard to safeguard. After I delved into the Amber Temple where Strahd von Zarovich had acquired his powers and where he had made the pact with the dark devils that have turned him into the thing he is now. So you know of my Petrina Velikovna. Which means you all
Can I look at the tapestry? Do I remember seeing? Oh wait, Catray's the only one that's been in the book.
Catray's the only one that's been in the book, but he did kind of recount a little bit of it to you guys. So you faintly remember a woman named Petrina who was being given away as a suitor, like a marriage suitor, and for Strahd it just wasn't enough. He wanted nothing to do with her. And then his eyes got set on Tatiana, and then she was betrothed to Sergei, and things just spiraled. So
Bust down, Tatiana. Sorry.
Bruh. Petrina, no. Petrina is like...
Pop culture.
Petrina kind of like becomes the object of what could have been. Like a divergent possibility of a Strahd that never came to be. If he'd only accepted this, you know how different he could have been from today. And yet...
Yeah, probably not much though, bro. The guy's crazy.
There are two things that I
Get your head over there.
was able to acquire from that temple. And he goes and grabs a cube that he pulls out of a bag. And he pulls this block cube out of a bag, and he places it kind of in the air in front of you guys, and then begins to spin it. And as it spins, it begins to float. He begins to draw out magically these projections from this cube, which begins to have this amber hue to it. This rock was pulled from the same temple that Strahd carved out his dark powers from, and it displays a temple, like it displays the images of a temple. I went there with the rest of my kind after all our maidens were slaughtered by the beast, as punishment for our failure to protect him, as he said. I wanted to find the source of this power myself and see if it was something that we, as the Dusk Elves, could acquire simultaneously. I wanted to rip that monster to shreds for what he's done. My people are broken and will remain in perpetuity, with no chance of a new start. We die in combat and our breed is out. I could only acquire two from this temple. One was the tome. I gave it to Vladimir to ensure that it was hidden away, locked away in an ethereal plane that not even Strahd can get into. The third was taken by Strahd himself, as he had met us outside and ambushed us and overwhelmed a large majority of my forces. We had to sacrifice that one item to just get out with our lives.
Oh my gosh.
And you can see the image of what appears to be an amulet, like a pendant, that has a raven on it. Last, and as he reaches his hand towards that amber cube, you can see something begins to like almost draw out of it, as if it's like kind of expelling. And at first, it's got just like what appears to be like a ring, like a metal ring, but it turns very quickly into like a broad-hilted pommel that approaches a leather-wrapped sword hilt that approaches the very end of it, which is this very intricate platinum hilt, or like actual like sword guard. And so it's this like set of wings that circle or have an encircled sapphire within between the wings. And he grabs that hilt and he pulls out just that. There's no blade on this weapon at all. And he holds it with both hands. And he looks at it. this will do you some good. This is what you need.
What are we to do with a broken sword?
You are to wield it against its demon.
Mhm.
And he holds out the blade. Or he holds out the sword hilt.
Am I able to see any kind of like magical essence in the sword hilt at all?
It has an aura to it. Like, you can feel it. There's something really weighty about this.
Can I take the sword hilt?
Yeah, you grab
Nice.
it. And as you
Mine.
grab it, you hear in the back of your mind,
Oh, it's a fucking possessed sword.
who are you?
How the fuck does Nick get two possessed swords,
Can I-
dude? What the
It's
fuck?
on my head, right? I don't have to say this out loud.
Yeah.
I want to answer to the sword. I want to say my name is Dima Vakter, Bane of Strahd Bansarovich.
Your line betrayed mine. You lie.
Huh?
You are no Bane.
Oh, come on. Come on. Alright, well, I want to be the Bane, my friend. Come on, give me a chance.
We just checked you, Nick.
Centuries ago, my life as I knew it ended because that monster pacted with your family.
Oh.
Oh, so you blame me for something my granddaddy did. Great. You know I have no control over the decisions they made, right? I am my own person. And you're gonna blame me for that.
You inherit the same protection and responsibility that the Vakters have carried for centuries.
Joke's on you. I just talked about this with your buddy that owned you for like how long now? Dude, my mom kicked me out of the house and she fucked my sister over. What do you mean? I respect you, take the responsibility. I would kill my mom right now if you would give me the chance.
You guys just see that, like, he's just, like, staring at the sword hilt.
But like he's like sweating now.
Yeah.
He's got
I'm
like
gonna put my hand on Dima's shoulder and go, kind of wiggle him a little bit. Are you alright? What's going on here?
Kasimir kind of, like, shoos you off a second and goes, they're having a conversation.
What? They?
Who's they?
Your friend and Sergei.
Oh,
Oh.
What? No.
Oh, shit, what? Yo, that's crazy, dude.
They're gay.
can he?
That's weird.
Can Sergei see Dima, or
He can.
do you sense it?
Sergei is completely sentient within that blade hilt.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's
He doesn't
cool.
see Helena now, does he?
Yo, that's not, this is, whoa, hey.
He does look and go, now that I've had a closer eye at you, that is a fair question. I think Sergei can tell that you are not his love, even though you look like it. I think the Strahd that now exists cannot tell the difference. He lusts after the things that he wants. Moving back to Dima.
Yeah.
You do not understand what he's done to me.
You don't understand what he's done to me in my life, my friend. I've been an outcast, hermit, useless nobody for the last 15 years because of him. And oh yeah, you may be older than me, but I'm gonna die too one day.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no, man.
Use the inspiration. Do you have one?
I do have an inspiration. I'm gonna cash in an inspiration, man. Hey, that'll do a lot better. 17.
If you could have one thing, what would it be?
I would, Dima's gonna try his hardest to conceal this from his party, though, too. I would like that my sister's state of mind is restored to before she was so corrupted by all of the haunting memories she now has to bury. and carry. I would like her to remember being a kid when life was easy and it was not hard or complicated.
You wish to protect and restore that which has been broken.
If that is how you would word it, yes.
Which is how you worded it, my friend.
Dima's he's rolling like he's got to roll like nat 20s to keep his composure right now. But yeah,
You are full of pain.
everybody
I
in
can feel
Barovia.
You carry it intimately.
Guess I'm not as good as I thought I was, huh?
Very well. Very well. And from the sword hilt emits a blade of pure light. Just
Oh,
Yeah!
in your hands.
Fucking Halo sword! Halo sword!
Well, it's more like it's a sun sword. Okay, this is a sun
it's like a
sword.
lightsaber.
Lightsaber! Oh my gosh!
And you hear, "My name is Sergei von Zarovich.
Oh.
I am of the line of von Zarovich, brother to Strahd. I wish his death. Your pain is similar to the pain that I feel. So I will let you wield me, and we will kill him."
Dima's gonna respond, and he's gonna say, I am blessed. What's the name of the Barovian guy? The god, the deity of Barovia? The Morning Star,
Lathander.
right?
Yeah, the Morning Lord.
Morning Lord or the Thander? Which one's more common?
Both. Lathander's his name, the Morning Lord's a title.
I'm gonna say more Lord. I'm gonna say I have been blessed by the Morning Lord to be your wielder in this upcoming fight, my friend. Let us end this
You're a pious man.
Wait, what did he say?
You are. He asked a question. You're a pious man.
Yeah. Not, the most active churchgoer, but I do think that there is something out there.
Well, let us go bring the dawn, shall we not?
Fucking.
It'll be a good old Barovian party.
With that, the blade retreats into the hilt, and you have the sun sword.
Let's go!
Hell.
Yeah, the sun sword is it is a very specific item that carries the property of another type of weapon called the sun blade. So, to let you know what the sun blade is, it is a +2 longsword that carries the finesse property, which means that you're capable of attacking with dexterity instead of strength with this weapon.
Cool.
Regardless of if you're proficient with short swords or long swords, you are proficient with the sun blade, so with the sun sword. It is a +2 to attack rolls and damage rolls with this weapon, and it deals radiant damage instead of slashing damage. If you hit an undead creature with this weapon, it takes an extra D8 of radiant damage.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And Radiant is strong against Strahd.
It is good to have. The sword also emits a 15-foot radius of bright light with an additional 15-foot radius of dim light, so a total of 30 feet. You can use an action to expand or reduce the radius of the bright and dim light by 5 feet each to a maximum of 30 feet each, or a minimum of 10. So you can use actions to have it withdraw.
You get
by
up to
5
60
feet.
then? Is that what you're saying?
No, Well, yes, 60 total. So
Yeah.
but that's actions, right? So you'd have to use what 6 consecutive actions? Yeah, 6 total actions in order to get it the full length, or you would have to use 1 action to withdraw it to its minimum, which is 10 and 10.
Okay.
Yep. With that being said, you go ahead and look at the sword hilt, and you can see Kasimir looks at you and says, "It seems that you have been blessed, and that Sergei has agreed to help, which means that you are indeed a stand above the rest." Now, I want to, and the rest of his conversation is completely cut short as the door is immediately flung open, and you see in the doorway, huddled with a tome in hand, clutched, and you see Jude. And you'll look at him with a sudden shock, and he looks at you all.
What?
Strahd, he's here. And immediately you see a darkness and a shadow that seems to creep into the room from behind him. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Yo! Let's go.
Let's not go. You guys are going to have a tough fight with that man next session.
Yeah.
Where Jude
Notice
died.
how he didn't give us a bag of holding this time around?
Yeah, you won't need it. You don't need bag holding. Not to find my vampire.
Who did you kill with that, Nick? Was it the devil?
Killed Katray's dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who was a vampire?
that was the guy who. That was the guy who we went down, or Katray went downstairs and like saw all the people with the masks, and then they.
That was a fun
Oh,
day.
Yeah.
That was,
That
a
was
fun
cool.
day.
Oh, man. So
So-
Strahd fight.
With that being said, everyone, thank you guys for another great session. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys have a phenomenal week. We will see you guys with our next session as we have a fight against Strahd. We are getting really close to the end of the campaign, as all that is going to have to happen next is our party will go to the castle Ravenlock and brave the terrors of that castle in order to acquire the final item before they stand off against Strahd. So for my players, you guys have leveled up again to level 9.
No!
You are
Let's go.
you are going to level up again after next session. So you'll probably be level 10 after next session, and you'll get to level 11 pretty quickly, and that's where you'll end up ending things. So we're going to see pretty quick, rapid level jumps from the milestones that you'll be hitting.
11?
So just be prepared for that. We're level 9 for now, so it's going to be kind of exciting. We'll see where that goes. And then Nick, if you want to just look up, you can just look up Sunblade 5e if you want the full description of that weapon. If you want, and that'll give you everything that you need if you just need to double up on it. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for a great session. We appreciate it. We hope you guys have a great week. We'll catch you guys in the next one. So stay safe, tell someone that you love them, and we will see you guys soon.
Have a good night.